Hi, and welcome to episode 46 of the Empowered Poly podcast. Today, we're going to talk about big feels in polyamory.
Because we know you're not alone. Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Leanne. Welcome to the Empowered Poly podcast,
where we give you the tools to help you feel more empowered
in your polyamorous and consensually non-monogamous relationships,
sharing what we've learned as relationship coaches and as individuals.
Empowered Poly is LGBTQ plus, alternative lifestyle, and kink friendly.
Thank you for joining us
and enjoy the show.
Beginning with this episode, we're going to try something new. So, if you're brand new to us, it's not new to you. But if you've been listening for a while, it's going to be new to you as it is to us. We're going to break this into 3 segments. First segment is Quickie Love Bites. And that's kind of like the TLDR, right? You know, if you don't want to hang around too long, you can have a listen to that and then move on. The second segment is called Intimate Insights. And there we're going to share with you a little bit more, some maybe even a little bit of how we learned about this stuff and how it can impact your life and our lives and all of that. And then we're going to get into the deep dive. That's the big stuff. That's where we're going to talk about personal stories from either our own lives or from clients' lives or just experiences that we've had. So hang tight and enjoy the ride.
Quickie Love Bites. So, in my experience and in many of my clients' experiences, the top 3 emotional experiences that are challenging in polyamory are jealousy, comparison, and the fear of abandonment. Does that ring true for you, Greg?
Absolutely. Yeah, those are definitely the big 3 feels for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones that we see most of the time with clients. And then frankly, those are the ones I personally have experienced most in my poly journey over the last 25 years.
Yeah. So in this section, Quickie Love Bites, what do we want to share?
Well, I think first off, we want to just define what they are.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah.
Jealousy, right? Jealousy, I mean, we think we know what jealousy is, but oftentimes people get it confused with envy, right? Envy is I want something that somebody else has, right? You know, they have a nice car. I envy them because they have a nice car, right?
Yeah.
Jealousy is it's made up of other feelings like, anger, resentment, all of these other things that come up for people, right? Jealousy is sort of an umbrella term, right? And it's very much about wanting to be somebody else, right? Or feeling threatened by someone else.
Like someone's taking something of mine.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's really critical here, right? Somebody's taking something away from you. Something's taking away, something that you love or care about or whatever, right? Or,
Yeah.
You will no longer have it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then comparison
Is
is
the
where
thief of
we're
joy.
is the thief of joy. Is where we're looking at other people's experiences or other people themselves and measuring ourselves against that, right? So
Yeah.
the comparison that I experience in polyamory is often about aesthetics, appearance, right? That kind of thing.
Right. And it's also important to note that most of the time the comparison piece is about somebody being better than you, or at least that's what you think they are in some way. They're better, bigger, stronger, faster, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's most often the way it shows up. It can show up the other way around, and that can be problematic too. But for the sake of this episode, we're going to talk about, where there's a feeling of inadequacy in that comparison, as
I see what
opposed
you're
to,
saying. Yeah.
yeah,
As opposed to the sort of I'm better than.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah. And then the last one is my personal favorite, which is fear of yeah, which is fear of abandonment,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And this one comes up a lot for me, like daily. It's a well,
Sorry.
I mean,
I don't mean to laugh at your pain, honey. It's
I
just
know,
because
I
I
know.
relate.
Yeah, yeah. But it comes up often. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the fear of abandonment. I am afraid that if I am not enough, or if I don't do everything exactly right, that my partner is going to abandon me. And it comes in a lot of ways from that mononormative programming of love being a zero-sum game.
Can you explain
Meaning,
that? Yeah.
yeah, sure. Meaning that there's that it's all or nothing,
Mm.
right? I'm giving you all of my love, and so that I have none left over, or I'm giving all of my love over here, so I have none left over there for over
So that's
there,
the
right?
perspective of the person fearing the abandonment, is that they see you loving somewhere else. And that means that there's nothing
None
left for
left for
them.
you. Right. Exactly. And so that's one of the ways it shows up. Another way that it shows up is when a partner is gone on a date or with somebody else, right? There's something called object permanence, right? Right? Will they
Struggle.
come
I
back?
struggle with
Yeah,
object permanence. Oh my God.
right. So object permanence is the concept that as a child, parent leaves the room and the child freaks out until the parent comes back. And then
Mhm.
over time, the more the parent leaves the room and comes back, the more trust that the child has that the parent will be there, even though they can't see them, or even though they're not in the same room. Same
Mm,
concepts apply here, right? Over time, the idea is hopefully that that reaction will become less and less. The more times that your partner goes out on a date or spends time with another partner and then comes back to you start to recognize, wait a minute here, okay, they aren't actually abandoning me. They are coming back to me,
mhm,
and they are
mhm,
spending time with me. They want to, right? Unfortunately, for a lot of us, me included, that takes a long fucking time, right? And sometimes other things can be reactive to it, and things can trigger it, and all of that stuff, which is what we're going to get into in a bit. Intimate insights. So this section is all about how did we learn these things? Where do these things come from, right?
what did we learn
And
about them?
what
And
did we learn about them? Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I'll start with jealousy. I learned that jealousy isn't something I have to fight against all the time, and that I'm not less than because I experience it.
Mhm.
There are people that don't experience jealousy, and more power to you if you are one of those folks. I am so happy for you. I am not one. And uh, for a long time, struggled with the kind of shame and blame that I was giving myself about having jealousy. And I know that a lot of my clients feel the same way. We often talk about normalizing jealousy, that you don't have to struggle so hard to, repress, deny, or somehow make it less than, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also important to recognize that jealousy is actually one of those emotions that's actually regarded highly in mononormative culture, right?
Yeah.
It's pervasive. It's every single fucking romantic movie on the planet. It's
Mhm.
every romantic song. I was listening to a song the other day, and it's a song I love, but it's been ruined for me since this, because it's about, this deep, passionate obsessive jealousy about somebody. If I can't have you, nobody can, kind of thing, right? It's challenging when you're trying to deprogram from that, when you're trying to extract yourself from that message and not listen to it. It can be challenging and it can be really hard. But it's just
Mm.
important to name that the jealousy is actually, yeah, it's highly regarded in monoculture, because um, it's one of the ways that we um,
Measure.
measure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of the ways that we measure um, true commitment and true faith in the relationship. It's almost like a value, right? And then you
Oh,
hear people say, "I could never do poly because I'm too jealous." It's almost like it's a what do they call that?
badge of
Oh my
honor.
God. Yeah, it's a badge of honor. It's like, I'm too jealous. I could never do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I'm
I
yeah,
love
anyway.
so hard. I
I
love
love
so
so hard I
hard.
could never do that,
Yeah.
right? What the hell does that mean? Anyway, whatever.
Well,
To
the
each
truth
their
is,
own.
yeah,
To each their own. I'm not
exactly.
judging. I'm just pointing out that these things are embedded in our culture. especially in Western civilization. They are
Mm,
embedded, and it's
hmm.
so hard to extract yourself from that programming and those messages.
Well, I would argue that it's practically impossible without sort of a continuous discipline, right?
Yeah,
Of reframing the mononormative messages that we get all the
right.
time. And if you're interested in mononormativity, watch episode 45 with Marla
Ooh,
Schreiber about mononormativity. Um, so yeah, it's pretty pervasive.
yeah, for sure, for
And
sure.
what about comparison?
What about it?
What about it?
What about it? How did I learn about comparison? Well, I
Or
mean,
what?
what
What
what did
did
I
you
learn
learn?
about compare? Well, what
Yeah.
I learned about it is that everybody's better than me.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's a terrible thing to learn.
yeah.
Where do you go from there?
Well, but also I'm not enough.
Oh, oh my God. Yes.
But what about the fact that those are both okay? What about the fact that those are both elements of freedom and they can provide you with opportunities for freedom,
Oh God,
right?
tell me more.
Yeah, so if I'm not enough,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to try to be enough for somebody because I'm never going to be enough.
Takes the pressure
If
off.
if everybody is better than me, quote unquote, whatever the hell that means, then I am free to show up as my unique self.
Mm,
And I don't have to
interesting.
worry about what other people are doing or what they think of me, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those reframes that I really love, right? I even wrote a blog about it, I'm not enough and that's okay. Check it out, gregmillion.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true though, I'm not enough and that's okay, right? And we talk about jealousy, going back to jealousy. Oftentimes jealousy comes from the concept that I'm not enough. Well, comparison is where that comes from. I'm not enough, so that person needs somebody else, right?
Mm.
Who's better in some way than you think to yourself, right? Better than you in some way, right? But the reality is it's just not true.
Well, okay. So the truth, so my experience of that truth is that my partners are very different. And you said, I'm free to show up in my own uniqueness, right? I
Mhm.
think that is sort of the antidote to the comparison Kool-Aid is like, hey, yeah, here's what I learned about comparison. Humans have to categorize the world around them and their place in it. And comparison is a tool that we have to do that. And it's really important to be able to do that. To say, size myself up against my opponent in a fight so that I can say, okay, I'm going to probably lose if I try to, wrestle, but maybe if I talk, I won't. Like I can use
Mhm.
other skills. So when we're talking about comparison, what I learned was it's necessary. It's part of our makeup naturally. It's not going anywhere.
It's a
So then,
survival strategy too, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Right? Sizing
100%.
somebody up, as you said, right? You know that. It's part of the basic instinct in us to survive, right?
Yep. Yep.
Right. But the reality is that we're not in survival mode 99% of the time.
It can trigger you to be in survival mode. And that's one of the things that we help people work on, right?
Right. That's a good point. So let me rephrase that. The reality is that our lives are not being threatened
In most cases.
in most cases.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
most cases. So the idea of comparison really just comes down to self-worth.
Right. And so then I flipped the narrative. I shifted the script,
Yeah.
as we like to say. And I thought, okay, if I experience comparison and it's going to be part of my natural biological evolutionary functioning as a animal on the planet, how can I make it work for me? So I decided to make it motivational. If I'm at the gym, for example, and I see somebody with a great body, I can internalize that as I'm not that, therefore I'm less than, therefore I shouldn't be here and I should just go home and eat my potato chips. Or I can look at that and go, wow, goals. Like I would like more of that in my life. I would like to have more strength, endurance, mobility. Look at that person go, right?
Mhm.
And the comparison then becomes motivation, inspiration.
Right. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't make my dick bigger, so it
Well,
doesn't work for
there
me
are
that way.
pumps. Just kidding. I don't know if they work or not. I've just heard.
They do. I've seen it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, there's a story.
Maybe in the deep dive.
That,
Um,
that's for the after hours episode, kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, all right, so we move on to fear of
super
abandonment.
X-rated after hours.
That's right. That's right. Should we move on to fear of abandonment?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that one.
So
This is,
yeah, that's
I'm
my
having
fave.
such a good time.
That's fave.
Oh
Five
God.
out, 4 out of 5 stars. Can't recommend enough. All right, so fear of abandonment. And what have we learned about it?
Go ahead. Tell me.
Well, I've learned that it's a motherfucker,
Whew. Okay.
and I've learned that it is a part of the way that I see the world.
Mm,
And when we get into the deep dive, I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. So stay tuned. And I think for me, fear of abandonment, um, and like we talked about in the quickie love bites part, is all about object permanence, right? It's all about this idea that if this person doesn't come back to me,
mm,
then I'm left to my own devices and I'm not worth anything. And you'll notice a thread of worth, right? Value, self-worth,
yeah.
self-confidence, self-love, right? And that's a thread in all three of these, right? Is the more self-worth, the more confidence you can gain with yourself, the more you can see yourself in different ways, in different lights, maybe even through the eyes of people that love and care about you. The
Mm,
more work that
key.
you do in that,
Ding, ding. Yeah.
yeah, the more that you work on that, the less impact these things will have on you. That's not to say that they'll go away completely, because in my
Mm-mm.
case, the fear of abandonment hasn't gone away completely. I still have it. I wasn't kidding. It's pretty much daily. But the reality is that I'm able to acknowledge it and not allow it to take over. Whereas
Mhm.
before, I would allow it to take over, and then I would just spiral out of control, and I wouldn't. It was unmanageable, right? I was in a complete state of dysregulation because of it,
Mhm.
because I was convinced that they weren't coming back, or I was convinced that they were having a better time than I could ever give them, which is comparison, or I was convinced that my jealousy was actually somehow um, um, reasonable, right?
Mhm.
They were doing something
Justified.
to me, justified. Yes,
Yeah.
they were doing something to me, right?
Mhm.
And so all of these three things, even though they're different, they're also interrelated and they definitely conflate in the experiences, at least in my experience and in the experience of my clients. So the fear of abandonment piece is all about, will they come back, right? And one of the
Mhm.
things that you have to remember is, in addition to working on yourself, you also have to remember that it takes time, right? You have to
Mhm.
trust in the relationship that that person will continue to come back to you each time they leave.
And as a partner with somebody who has that issue, then, consistency,
Yeah,
follow
that's huge.
through,
Yep.
communication, be in your integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it, show up. Or if you can't, communicate in a timely manner that you can't. Because that
Right.
person who has that high level of anxiety about abandonment is waiting, right? So if you can't show up, you need to communicate that as soon as you know, basically.
Yeah. Compassionate partnership is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I think
And
it's
then
I'm
go
actually
ahead.
having a moment here, sorry.
Sorry. Oh, you okay?
By the way, I'm the partner referring to who has who has that fear, that big fear of abandonment and needs that consistency. And I acknowledge that, I recognize it, and I ask it of my partners. Um, and we work through it together, and
Yeah.
we build foundations in our relationship that rely on it in many ways. And then the relationship goes on, the less necessary it becomes because the more trust is developed, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, yeah,
But it's still
there's
there.
a whole other thing that I could go into, but we'll wait for the deep dive. Um,
Deep dive.
so for me, fear of abandonment, actually, I didn't understand what I was experiencing until I read Polysecure with Jessica Fern. Thank you, our friend Jessica. If you are curious about Jessica's work, check out our interview with her. I think it's episode 10,
Wow.
about Polysecure, the book.
Yeah, we're like best buds.
We're so tight. uh, anyway, that really helped me understand that as somebody who's fearful avoidant, which means I have both the anxious and the avoidant attachment style, and I tend to lean towards avoidant. When my fear of abandonment comes up, I miss you turns into that's okay, I don't need you, right? Which is why I think I struggle sometimes to say I miss you, even though I feel it. It doesn't come up in those words, right? It comes up in the I'm fine, I'm good, I don't need you, right? But underneath, if I dig, if I excavate my emotions underneath, I miss you is at the bottom, right? So that's been a big, steep learning curve for me to understand myself and to recognize, oh, I'm in my fierce independence at the moment. And that means that I'm needing something, you know, I'm feeling insecure underneath. There's fear. Somewhere along the line, I coped with that abandonment feeling by making my way independently. Probably when I was very young, I was left in the hospital. I was a toddler. I was very sick, and there was a snowstorm. My parents had to leave me there for a week by myself. And I decided to just make friends with the nurses and the other patients and forget all about them. And then when they picked me up, I didn't want to have anything to do with them. Hmm. So,
Yeah, it's also important to acknowledge that their avoidance and independence are two different things.
but they can look very similar.
Yeah,
And
right.
independence is a expression of avoidance sometimes. I'm being independent. I don't need anybody, right?
I can do it myself.
I can do it myself. I got my hands on my hips. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's what I learned. The deep dive.
Jealousy. Let's talk about
Mhm.
that one first. So,
Okay.
I have so many stories. Like I have all the stories in the world, and I think I think I'll focus on the most recent one just because it's the one that's clearest in my head, and that's with my other partner, Alyssa, and I do have her permission to share our stories and stuff through this podcast. So thank you for that if you're listening.
Oh,
So yeah, so I mean it was it was quite an experience. She had an experience with somebody else, and I kind of lost my shit for a host of reasons. I was 8,000 miles away in Italy at the time, and so I was completely out of my normal sort of routine and way of doing things, and I didn't have the normal, the usual self-reliance of the coping skills that I could rely on. So there was a lot of things at play there, but essentially it became much bigger than it probably would have. The emotion, the experience of it, the dysregulation was much bigger than it probably would have been had I not been there, had I been home.
Mm, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah,
I
there's
think that's interesting, but
the stress of the travel on top of the dysregulating feelings. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because it was an experience I wasn't prepared for,
Yeah.
right? And so I the details of the experience don't matter, but the
No.
reality is that I wasn't prepared for it. And so in that unpreparedness, if that's a word, it is now, in that unpreparedness, I felt completely spiraled and completely out of any sort of reasonable thought. And I think that's one thing that for me jealousy does, if I'm not careful, is it takes me out of what they call wise mind in the DBT, dialectical behavior therapy world, right? You've got logical mind and you've got emotional mind, and together, when you put them together, it becomes wise mind, because you want some
Hmm.
emotional experiences and you want some logical experiences to be able to cross over and become what they call wise mind. So it takes me completely into emotional mind. I don't
Hmm.
think, I don't, there's no,
No
it's just
logic.
everything becomes black and white or red in some cases. And it's just, there's no logic to it at all. And it takes me some time. It took me some time in this case to move through that. And thanks to you and the help and your support as a partner, I was able to move through it. And now over the course of time, this was back in June and this is now the end of August. So it's been a while and I've worked through it and I'm okay now. But the
Mm.
experience was very challenging for me. And it all came down to, actually, it came down to all three of these things, to be
Yeah.
honest. It
Right.
was all three of them. But I mean, I could use this story for any one of these: jealousy, comparison, fear of abandonment, doesn't matter. But the reality is that I felt incredibly unsafe and very threatened. And
Hmm.
that's how my jealousy shows up. That's
And
when my jealousy
I
shows
want
up.
to speak to those people here who are listening or watching that really resonate with this and are like, I've been told by other people in the poly community that I'm not ready to poly because I have these feelings.
Fuck off.
Just fuck off. Yeah, because that's a story. That's a lie. It's a gatekeepy kind of lie that is, not real. There's so many people in the polyamorous community that have been doing this for a long time that are poly identifiers that really want this in their world and they struggle. And they struggle because they're human, you know?
Yeah,
Doesn't.
I identify as poly. It's a part of my identity. For some people it's a choice. But for me it's an identity. But I
Mhm,
still struggle with this jealousy piece. It doesn't
mhm,
mean I'm less of a poly person or I'm doing something wrong
mm-mm.
or I'm somehow being harmful or hurtful to other people because I experience these feelings.
Right.
None of that is true. None of that is true. What you do with the feelings, how you act on them,
Oh,
is what could be good or bad. And that's
that's
the
another ding, ding,
problematic
ding
piece.
moment, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's what you do with those feelings, right? If you attempt to try to control other people because you don't want to experience this discomfort,
Yeah.
right? If I mean, there's a host of things that can be
Try to
done where
veto
jealousy,
partnerships or,
veto partnerships, yeah,
yeah.
become abusive, become toxic, shut down completely, and just completely and totally, um, you
Stonewall.
know, stonewall. Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are the problems. And those are the behaviors that need to be focused on. The jealousy, the experience of the emotion itself is not problematic. It's just
Mhm.
simply information. And I found out what that information was trying to tell me. I checked under my hood and I discovered what I needed.
Because you use the analogy of like emotions are like lights on a dashboard
Yeah,
of a
right,
vehicle. So check under
right,
the hood to see what needs to be attended to, if anything.
right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was after I'd wrecked the fucking car, but you know what? Hey, better late than never.
Whatever. It wasn't wrecked. It just got a few dings.
Yeah, I got it. It got a little dent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, jealousy, um, really, it really depends on what's going on with me outside of any connection, even. Like, how am I feeling? Am I well rested? Am I in pain? I have chronic issues with pain. Are my uh, senses overstimulated or overwhelmed, flooded? So, I notice all of these emotions will come up more when I'm in a state where I'm kind of depleted for sure. Um, and I know for a lot of my clients, boy, that is an issue. One of my clients They have kids, they have a busy house, they have a crazy schedule, and all of that pulling at them all the time. And then they have a partner going out on dates. And the jealousy there is not just jealousy, it's partly envy too. Like they get to go out, you know,
Yeah.
while they stay home and take care of everything. So that's a big challenge. It's so normal to have these feelings. It's like you said, what you do with them that matters. And understanding the feelings is part of what we teach our clients to do, to understand their feelings, to learn tools to manage them, and to move forward with them.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
we're going to be doing that very thing in October for the entire month of October.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Our Poly
Yeah.
Lab,
A
which is our
Polylab. Yeah.
small group coaching experience for 4 weeks. It's 4 Saturdays in October, is amazing. We meet
So,
every Saturday for like an hour and a half. We have a special guest.
yeah. Lola Phoenix.
They are
They,
the
they,
author of The Anxious Person's Guide to Non-Monogamy
yep.
and the Non-Monogamy Journal, and
Yep.
the host of Non-Monogamy Help.
Non-monogamy help. Yep. That's right. And we also had them on the podcast. So
Yes, check out that episode, please.
yeah, for
That
sure.
would
We
be
don't know what number
episode
it is.
44. Pretty
44.
sure.
There we go. 44. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it was a little
Yeah.
self promo action there. Polylab, all 4 Saturdays in October. It's an hour and a half each day, each Saturday. And you learn so much about managing emotions. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing. Can't recommend it enough. If you want to learn more about it, we'll put a link.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll probably put you know what? We should just put up a little card right now that says, here it is.
Okay.
And then
Boom. There it is.
and then for those listening, because you can't see the card, for those listening, go to empoweredpoly.ca and go scroll down and you can find it. You can also type in, I believe, Polylab,
Mhm.
probably Empowered Poly, Polylab, and then find it that way too.
Yeah. And we'll put the link in the description.
That's right.
So, oh, and the Poly Lab is actually called Polyamory and Big Feels, because you can't just ghost your emotions.
It's a great
uh,
title.
it's a great title.
Great title.
We did great.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
But the point is that these emotions don't go away.
That's
They
right.
just get louder until you tend to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
don't try
universe is
and
kind of an asshole that way.
don't try and squish them down and sit on them.
Don't, yeah, yeah, because that just doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
You might be able to power through the first, 100 times or whatever, but eventually it's going to catch up with you in some of the most insidious and unpredictable ways. So,
And we've seen it as
yeah,
coaches and
yeah.
in our
And
own
not, we
experience.
experienced it. Like, yeah,
Total
yeah,
freaking meltdown, panic,
yeah.
primal panic mode with my jealousy. When we opened up and you went on your date and I was like melting down and you were like, should I stay? And I'm like, go. Save
I'll be
yourself.
fine.
I'll
Go
be
save
fine.
yourself. Get off the boat. I love you, Leo. Or whatever the fuck his name was in that movie.
So when
Can we move
we're
on?
when we're I'm just telling my story. I'm
Sorry.
telling my primal panic story.
Sorry.
The important part about that story is that you needed to go away and come back, like you said earlier, so that I could practice self-regulation, self-soothing in your absence, and get the reassurances and the evidence that you were coming back. Yeah. That's my jealousy story. So tell me about comparison.
Well, I wrote down two words when
Uh-oh.
I was thinking about comparison, and I
Okay.
wrote down two words. So, um, I want to say this is for all the penis owners in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you get this, maybe you don't. I don't know, but dick size. It's a big
Yeah.
one. Get it? And it's not about whether or not my dick is big or not. It's average. It is what it is. But I have been, along with most men in the world, I think anyway, have been programmed that the larger the size of your member, the more masculine you are.
Which is bullshit.
Right. In fact, there's even a term for it. It's called
Mm,
big dick energy. I hate that term. So the reality is that it doesn't matter what size your penis is, right? There's so many other reasons to be a good lover or to be able to be good at sex and so on and so forth. And penis size is at the bottom of the list in most cases. If you ask your partners, if you ask the people in your life that you love and care about, and the people that you trust that won't tell you just what you think that what they think you want to hear. But for me, that's how it shows up sometimes.
mm-hmm,
Is I'm like, oh my God, that guy's got a bigger dick than me. So my girlfriend or my wife or my partner or whatever must want him more than me, or they can satisfy them more than me.
mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So why should I bother? Why should I try? I'm just not going to get off the couch. That can be a pervasive thing that starts to lead into other areas, about physical size, assets, finances, and so on and so forth, right? What does it mean to be a man in this world? I remember I was asked that question in one of the talks that I did on toxic masculinity. I remember that this trans man stood up and he asked me the question. He said, "What does it mean to be a man?" And without thinking, without blinking, I said, "Whatever you want it to be,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want it to mean." And I meant that, and I still mean it. And I still struggle with this.
Yeah.
I still struggle with the concepts of masculinity and how it relates to who I am as a man and what I bring to the world, right? And I remember just being inundated with messaging that you had to have rock hard abs and you had to, you don't see you don't see body types like mine represented in the media.
Mm,
You don't see, you know, dick sizes like mine represented in porn.
mm-hmm.
And I know that those are very skewed representations of reality, of course,
Absolutely. Yep.
but that's what we're inundated with.
Well, and on the feminine side of things, those aesthetic comparisons are pervasive and everywhere and constant too. Body size, breast size. Um, what does,
Age.
what does my vulva look like? Is it kind of like a Arby's meat sandwich, or is it like all tucked in nice like a bun or something? You know what I mean? Like all of those are ever present for us too. And I think God help our non-binary and trans folks who are struggling with those things and finding their way, threading their way through what does it mean? What does it mean to them? What does it mean to their partners? Right? It's hard enough when you are a cis person. I can't imagine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I relate. I relate.
Yeah.
And I've had to ask those questions too, because I was looking back at, the standards for beauty for the young woman instead of a woman of 57, you know? And it really does a number on your brain. So again, coming back into that, like what I learned about comparison is how do I use that for motivation? Well, I do know that health is what matters to me, right? I need my body to be able to be functional so that I can enjoy sex or hiking or walking. So I work on mobility a lot more than I ever have because that's where I'm going to find enjoyment of life. And
Yeah.
and that's what I can control, you know, and what's
Yeah.
natural to me and what feels good to me. So that's where I put my focus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Age plays a big role in that too, right? For
Age is
me.
huge for
But
me
it's
too.
it's I
Oh,
think it's I think it's bigger for women than it is for men in our society. Only because
well,
women, I
we've
mean, I
seen
don't
it,
know. I'm not a woman, but we do. I
but
mean, I think it's a
yeah, you
bigger
know
deal.
why?
Why?
Because of the classic, middle age crisis of the heteronormative relationship partner who's male, right? He hits 40 and trades her in for somebody who's 20. That's why.
Yeah, that's
I
hitting a
mean,
little bit of a nerve.
but you're not trading me in, right? And
No,
she's not
no.
20. So the truth is that's a natural thing for people to experience. They want to reclaim youth and and have that ability to procreate later in life as a natural evolutionarily, normal animal.
Mhm.
As we age and we recognize mortality, we're like, oh, what can we do to kind of continue our DNA on the planet, right? So these things, I know I keep going back to science and people are going to like jump on me for it, whatever. I don't care. I believe in science. And I think that it is a large part of what we're working with and against and trying to navigate. We just have to understand that, a man wanting a younger woman isn't an unhealthy experience. It's a normal, evolutionarily kind of promoted experience, right?
Mhm.
Can he work against those urges if he wants to? Sure, right? And many do, and some don't. And in polyamory, you don't have to, as long as everybody is consenting and adults and all that stuff. Cool, more power to you, right? I don't
Yeah.
have any problem with age gap relationships. I was in one as a 22-year-old woman with a 40-year-old man. So,
Mhm.
I was that person that my partner traded for, basically. And in a mono relationship, that really did happen. Um, I was in a polyamorous relationship. They were not, although they thought that they were separated.
It's
It was very
complicated.
complicated. It was
It's
very
very
complicated.
complicated. So many moving
I
parts.
know. When I write my autobiography, I'll explain.
Yeah, that's what your autobiography should be called.
What?
It's complicated.
Oh, fucking right. Hey, if you like our stuff, don't forget to do all the things.
Such as like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment.
All right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, what's our next one?
Fear of abandonment. It's my
Woohoo!
fave. It's my fave.
We're back.
All right. Yeah, we're back. And we're back. Yeah. So I alluded to something earlier when we were talking about fear of abandonment, I think
Mhm,
in the intimate insights segment. So I have borderline personality disorder.
mhm,
And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a horrible name, and it should be renamed as emotional regulation disorder. So basically, it's a disorder where your ability to be able to regulate your emotions is challenged more often than somebody who wouldn't have the diagnosis. So
mhm,
essentially, I become dysregulated much easier and much more often than other people would, and who don't have the diagnosis, who don't have BPD. But yeah, anyway, so I have borderline personality disorder. So that's what I mean when I said it was a constant for me, because fear of abandonment. Yeah,
I just want to
she raised her
point
hand,
out
by the way, for those listening.
I just want to point out too that you said that you would become more dysregulated than other people would, um, who don't have that diagnosis, but they could have other diagnoses that would contribute to dysregulation as well.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. Yeah. So anyway, so BPD, I think it should be called emotional regulation disorder. And it's about regulating or the inability or the challenge of regulating your emotions. And as part of that, there's a constant fear. One of the criteria that need to be met is the fear of abandonment. This idea that everybody's out to get you, everybody's out to hurt you, right? And so that's pretty pervasive in my mind. I have been able to over the years, through tools, through medication, through all sorts of things, I've been able to manage those thoughts and stay much more regulated than I used to be. And I
Mm,
know that they're just thoughts. I know that that's just the way my brain is wired. But in terms of fear of abandonment, I would say that that's probably at the top of the list of things that scares me the most. And so, that's why Leanne said earlier about consistency. Consistency is fucking huge for me. I
Mhm.
need that consistency, not just from other people, but also from myself. I thrive in routine. I thrive in consistency. I thrive in things that other people would consider to be quite mundane and boring
Mhm.
because I need that level of calm in my life
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
just to function, right? And it's something I had to really, really take a hard look at, and I had a breakdown, a mental breakdown because of it, because I wasn't getting that. And that's when I realized I had all of these things that I needed in my life in order to be able to function and to maintain some sense of sanity in my world.
Mhm.
Um, and some of the ways that that looks, I mean, we've talked about vigilance, but my vigilance becomes hypervigilance. It's like I'm constantly looking for any little thing that I can think of that's going to clue me in as to whether or not this person actually is telling me the fucking truth.
Can I trust you?
Like, are they actually going to come back? Do they actually mean that? So there's a level of distrust that's there as well.
Mhm.
Um, right. And I don't believe it until I see it, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then over time, right, as I see it more consistently and ongoing, and I build up a resilience in that relationship, right? But each relationship is different. And oftentimes my
Mhm.
relationships are in different stages of relating, right? And so it's a sense of constant because I'm like, well, one relationship's only 2 years old. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and there's some inconsistencies in that relationship or whatever, right? There's change, in that relationship. And so there's a lot more work that needs to be done to manage those feelings, my feelings in that relationship versus our relationship, where we've been together for almost 10 years now, and we've been through a lot of shit
So much.
in that 10
Yeah.
years, right? Which again, conflict is a big part of this, right? Conflict is healthy in relationships. And what it's
Mhm.
taught me is that it's okay to have conflict. Conflict doesn't mean that you're just going to fuck off and go.
Oh, I remember the first couple of times that we argued, you were devastated, devastated because you thought it was the end.
I remember saying that.
Yeah.
I remember
And
saying that. So what, is this the end? Are we done then? You
yeah.
know?
And I grew up witnessing a very kind of dysfunctional marriage with my parents, but there was commitment and consistency there. Like they would fight and then make up and fight and then make up and fight and then make up. And so I knew the conflict was okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I had the exact opposite experience. I didn't see conflict modeled
right.
at all. Like it was avoided, like it happened behind closed doors, or when we weren't home, we be my brother and I. And then my mother I think I was at the ripe old age of 7 or 8, decided that it would be better for me to live with my father and and his wife, than it would be for me to continue to live with her as a single mom in Los Angeles. And so
Mhm.
she shipped me back to live with him and didn't include me in those conversations. And that's what activated my fear of abandonment. I'm pretty sure that that's where all of this came from.
And didn't tell you either.
And
Right.
didn't tell me. She didn't tell me what was going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant when I said she didn't clue me in or include
Oh,
me in the decision. So she just put me on the plane like usual every summer, and I went back to visit with my dad and his family. And I was going to go home when it was all over with, but I didn't go home when it was all over with. I ended up having to stay there. From an adult perspective, looking back, I get it. It was the best decision for me as a child, and it's a significant reason why I am the most fantastic human being in the world right now, because it was helpful,
well,
right?
and you were used to waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like someone will say something and you'll kind of half believe them, but then you're waiting for that to change
Yep.
because of that experience, that foundational
Yep.
core experience. Yeah.
That's
And
right.
also
That's right.
the vigilance. I mean, that even happened today, right? When you came home from your overnight date and I was on my phone working and
Yep.
you wanted to check in and chat. And I was like, no, I'm in the middle of something. I could feel it. I could feel the hypervigilance going, And you even asked, like, are we okay? Is everything okay? Yep, I'm just working, right? And so coming back around to try and like, have normal conversation and be engaged with you and stuff like that. As soon as I could, I made that effort, and I think that helped today. I hope
It
it
helped
did.
immensely. It helped immensely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because there was a time in my life where I would have wanted to talk that moment to death. I
Right.
would have
Yeah.
wanted to talk that moment to death, but I recognized what I was doing. I recognized as soon as you answered my question that is everything okay? And you said, yeah, I'm just working. I recognized, wait a minute, Greg, you're doing that thing. And so I just took my bag and I went into my room and I started unpacking and I
Mhm.
got on with my day, because I recognized in that moment that there was nothing wrong. Nothing was happening to me. Nobody was doing
Mhm.
anything to me. They were just doing things. And
And there's lots that we can teach people too about the tools and the rituals and things like that that you can do
yeah,
to help yourself in those moments where any one of these big feels is overwhelming to you,
right, right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we should
Yeah.
probably wrap up, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Does that feel
For
good?
sure. It does. Did you want to talk about fear of abandonment though? Did you want to
No,
do a personal story? No, no. You're like, fuck it. I'm done with that shit.
I don't talk about that.
I've
I
given
don't
too much.
experience
Yeah.
it. I just
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
need you.
So have you met my wife, Mrs. Avoidant?
Do I want
Yeah.
to talk about it? Well, I'll talk about it from maybe a client's perspective in that
You
from
don't
the
actually
anch
have to. You don't actually have to. I think we've imparted enough wisdom on our audience at this point that
well,
you don't need to feel burdened with the responsibility of increasing that level of wisdom and
no.
sharing if that's not something that you're interested in doing.
Oh God. Okay. Whew. No, I just wanted to say the flip side of that coin can be the, anxious experience like yours. So my avoidant tendencies kind of mirror your anxious ones. And then, sometimes you will flip as well, right? Like if you have the fearful avoidant kind of both, um, I think it's called complex, I'm not sure. Disorganized. It's called disorganized attachment style, and you have both, then you can kind of teeter totter between the two of them. And that's happened between us too, which is super fun
Yeah. That's
because when
fun.
I'm
Yeah.
anxious and I need attachment, you're like avoidant, and when I'm avoidant, you're anxious, and
Yeah.
we do this like running around the house chasing each other thing. Yay. So anyway, all that to say, these are normal. It's okay if you're experiencing them. You're not less than. It doesn't make you a poly person. And we can help you if you need the help.
Yes, we can. We can help you one-on-one coaching. We can help you with the group experience, the Polylab in October. We can help you through following our social media, et cetera, all of the ways. So please don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions and share stories. And there's a saying in the online internet world, don't at me, bro. In other words, when somebody says something a little controversial or whatever, they're like, don't at me, bro. Well, feel free to at us anytime you want.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep up with the kids, man.
Trying to
I
keep
don't
up
know.
with. All righty. Well, that just aged you 100 years.
It did. Yeah. 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 I got to get me cane.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. And if you're watching this after October 2025, we do repeat the Poly Labs. So reach out to us and we'll hook you up with whatever's happening. And you can also join our newsletter.
Yeah.
So I'll put the newsletter link in the description as well. But you can find that on our website.
Yeah.
So
Empoweredpoly.ca.
Mhm.
Because we Canadian bitches
And remember,
choose love.
and keep it kind.
We'd love to hear your comments, questions, or topic suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe.
And you're invited to join our Facebook group, Empowered Poly Relationship Support.
You can reach out to us on our websites, gravemillion.com
LeanneMillion.com,
and empoweredpoly.ca,
where you can check out our courses
and find more information.
and And follow us on our socials.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Yeah, nobody's going to listen to this anyway.
Why did we even bother?
Right?
There's no way in fucking hell that's going to be a 30-minute episode.
No,
I just don't think we can do it, honey.
I don't think we can do it either. That's all right.
I just don't think we can do it. But maybe that's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes after the edits and
How
all
much
the
editing
garbage.
should I do? It'll be us going like this. Wait, what? It's 10 minutes long. It's a
It's 10 minutes
miracle.
long. It's the best episode ever. Nobody
All the
finishes a
cartoons
fucking
and none of
sentence.
us.
It's all cartoons and none of us. Yeah, and nobody finishes a fucking sentence. It's just you start a sentence, a cartoon pops up. That's it. That's what it is. podcast, me included, that takes a long fucking time. Right. And sometimes other things can be reactive to it, and something, things can trigger it and all of that stuff, which is what we're going to get into in a bit.
Intimate insights.
All right. So, intimate insights. Okay.
Wait, I was laughing way too hard.
Okay.
I amused myself. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. This is going to
All
be old
right.
hat next time we do it. I promise.
I know, right?